Welcome back to eWisdom, and today we are going to look into an important topic, that is factors affecting the supply. So last video we have seen the factors which affects the demand, and now we are going to look into the factors affecting the supply. There are various factors, and these all are the 6 factors which we are going to see today in detail. So I'll explain you each and every factors in detail. Before getting into that, I'll be explaining you about the supply schedule. We'll just look into that now, and there'll be shift in supply also. I'll explain that also right now. We are just going to look into the supply schedule, and in this supply schedule we can look at the supply previously and supply currently. Supply currently means it is a new supply, whereas supply previously is actually a old supply. Now when the price remains the same, but look at the supply. From 60 the new supply is being increased to 70. I'll give you an example like when the supply will be increased like this at the same price. So for example, when the weather condition is really great and the crops can grow well, previously I supplied 60 units for rupees 100. Now as the weather conditions are very great, I will be able to supply more of 10 units, that is 70 units currently. So our supply is increasing at the same price. Now at the price of 200, you can see the supply previously it was 870, and now the supply is 80 because of good weather condition. So here you can see the difference, 60 and current it is 70. Here it is 70 and current it is 80. So likewise at the price of 600, it is actually 110 previously, but now due to better weather condition we have 130 units of supply. So our supply curve is shifting towards the right. When the supply is increasing, when the supply is increasing, the supply curve will shift towards the right. I will show you an example of the diagram now. So look at this. The supply previously is over here, and as there is an like weather condition is good, the supply is shifting towards the right over here. Fine. So as usual, y-axis there are price and x-axis its quantity supplied, and earlier it was at the curve yes, and now as it is a good weather condition our supply is increasing, and so the supply curve shifts towards the right. Now for example, what if weather condition is really very bad? If we have flood or some like disaster or something? This supply will decrease. How can that be denoted? I will show you that graph also. So this is that graph where the supply earlier was S. Now as the supply is decreasing due to poor weather condition or due to disaster, the supply curve will shift from yes to S1. So when the supply is decreasing, it shifts towards the left. As usual, the price is in the y-axis and the quantity supplied in the x-axis. So this is how there is a shift in supply towards the left. So supply will shift towards the left when there is decrease in supply, whereas it will shift towards the right when there is increase in supply. Now we'll just look into the factors affecting the supply. For example, cost of production. Increase in cost of production will reduce the supply, so which means it will shift towards the left. Likewise, I'll explain you each and every factors of production now. So our first factor is going to be changes in the cost of production. Changes in the cost of production is especially because of change in the price of any other factors of production. Now if a product is going to be a table, wood, it is a raw material to make a table. So it is one of the factors of production. When its price is going to be increased, when the wood price is going to increase from 100 to 170, our table price will also increase because it is very expensive to produce a table. So which means our cost of production is increasing, and therefore the supply is decreasing for table, right? It is very difficult to produce tables with an expensive wood than earlier, right? So our supply will decrease when cost of production is increasing. Next thing is changes in the productivity. So when a worker produces 50 units a day, he is paid 200, which means for per unit he is being paid 4 rupees, but the next day itself he is producing 100 units, but he'll be paid only 200, but per unit he has been paid only 2, right? So 200 divided by 100, so our cost of production is decreasing and so our supply is increasing. And this is our next factor which affects our supply, that is improvement in technology. So now this man is using this machine. When there is an improvement in technology, a better machine is being available to produce the same product. For example, maybe if this is going to be your machine, due to an improvement in technology, this makes our work more easier, and this will also reduce our cost of producing. So when there is an improvement in technology, we'll be able to supply more because our technology is improving, which makes our work easier, and so we'll be able to produce more at less time, right? So when there is an improvement in technology, our cost of production will decrease and our supply will increase. This therefore will change the supply curve towards the right. Now I'll show you an graph of this. You can see this graph, the supply curve is being shifted from S to S1. Even demand curve is shifting because as the cost of production is decreasing, the price is also decreasing from P to P1, and so the demand is increasing from D to D1. So this graph represents both shift in supply and demand. Next thing we are going to see is taxes and subsidies. So first we'll look at the taxes. Government. So taxes are paid to the government and it's a very big revenue for the government. The taxes are in the form of corporate tax or VAT, that is value added tax. When tax increases, the supply will decrease. So for example, earlier 50,000 is my profit, in that I am paying 5,000 as tax, but now I am paying 10,000 as tax. So I'll be having less amount to reinvest, so our supply is decreasing. But when the tax is going to decrease, our supply will be increasing. Yes, that will happen. So again the supply curve will shift towards the right. Subsidies. So subsidy is a grant provided by a government. Nowadays grants are paid for agriculture. Actually grants are also paid to consumers in order to increase the demand, but when the grants are paid to the producers, it will increase the supply. So when the subsidies are paid more, the supply will increase because this reduces the cost of production. As government is giving some money, I will be able to invest more and produce more. So even the price will decrease because of subsidies. The cost of production will decrease especially. Next, when the subsidies are going to decrease, the supply will also decrease. This is an image of rain and crops. As there is a very good weather condition, the crops are growing very well, and so the supply of crops or some vegetations are going to increase. So when the weather condition is really very good, the supply will increase. But what happens if the weather condition is very bad? If we don't have enough rain, it's very sunny, or when there is soil erosion, our crops get very bad. So our supply of crops will especially decrease due to poor weather condition. So you might have heard about increase in the prices, right, of tomatoes or potatoes or something like that, right? Because of decrease in supply, their prices are increasing. Next factor is disaster and discovery. Disaster can reduce the supply. Example, war. Now for example, if there is a war, our supply will decrease, and when there is tsunami or earthquake, it will definitely affect our economy by damaging our workers, infrastructure, all such things, right? So that will reduce the supply. When there is a discovery of new fields, example coal, there will be increase in supply. When there is a new field, discovery of new fields such as oil, there will be an increase in supply of oil, right? So this again will shift the supply curve towards the right. So our final thing is price of related products, corn and wheat. Now when a price of corn is going to increase, we will reduce the supply of wheat, because the producer will earn more profit when he is going to produce corn when its price is going to increase. So therefore the supply of wheat will decrease. So, this is the thing about the price of related products. That's all with the factors affecting the supply. So, thank you so much. Have a nice day.